I think we can finally reveal
Finally.
the news.
Yeah, the reason being is that I just became a father.
Now they always say congratulations. Work so hard.
About 2 weeks ago.
And today is
It's
Father's
Father's
Day.
Day.
So such a fitting episode.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day, Marvin.
Thank you, I
First
appreciate
official,
that.
perfect timing too.
Actually, yeah, we kind of worked out well. So it kind of pivoted into the next chapter of my life, where I am, who I am, and who I've become, and who I will become. And I wanted to. It's gonna affect the podcast. It has already. So why not talk about it? We didn't know that we were pregnant until after we came back from the proposal, kind of engagement, etc. Literally found out like the week after. But it was honestly an incredible experience, and I'm so blessed to be with somebody that is so special and kind and amazing human being such as Claudia. So it's just so I can't express, because I've never felt this way.
Right.
There's a human being that you help create, and there's nothing that this human being can do that would make you stop loving them.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like that about anybody, because any relationship I've ever had was, I guess, kind of contingent, or with the intent of like, okay, well, I'm good to them, they're gonna be good to me. My baby, it's not good to me, but nonetheless, I'm like loving and devotional, and like pour my heart and soul into this little creature, without expecting anything in return. What's up, everybody?
Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Breakup.
Starring Christian
Christian
Vera.
Vera and Marvin Schultz. And I think we can finally reveal
Finally.
the news.
Yes, first of all, I guess we should say why it's been a little bit tough recording, so much going on.
We're
while
no longer in
here.
the same studio.
And so sorry for like being a little bit inconsistent with the posting and the episodes and all that stuff like that. There's a really good reason for it.
You guys, I think, would understand.
Yes. And the reason being is that I just became a father about 2 weeks ago.
And today is
It's
Father's
Father's
Day.
Day.
So such a fitting episode.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day, Marvin.
Thank you, I
First
appreciate
official,
that.
perfect timing too.
Actually, yeah, we kind of worked out well. So obviously we haven't talked about it throughout the entire pregnancy of my wife.
You wanted to keep it a little.
Wanted to keep it private. Wanted to
private.
keep, the people that I cared about knew, which obviously you, my family, close friends, and that really was all that mattered to me. And so now the baby's 2 weeks old. He's healthy. Claudia's healthy. I felt comfortable enough to kind of share that. And also, it kind of pivoted into the next chapter of my life, where I am, who I am, and who I've become, and who I will become. And I wanted to. It's gonna affect the podcast. It has already. So why not talk about it?
Yeah, so I'm sure we have videos that we can kind of overlay here. This is what the podcast room used to look like, if you guys
Yes.
remember.
Oh, we'll have the editor.
And
No, this is
this is what it looks like now.
Right. No,
Right?
for sure. Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you could see, big changes. A lot has
Big change.
happened here,
Yeah.
but beautiful nonetheless.
Thank you.
You like the podcast room better? How it was before? Or how it is now?
I liked the fact that we had our own space, and it was, it was like us. Like
Sure,
the time and work it took to put it together. But now when I walk into the podcast, not the podcast room anymore, the nursery, I can't help but feel over the moon.
Nice.
So
nice.
it's been an incredible experience, and emotional and surreal. It's really hard to explain. I'll try my best though.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So then what was that like? So first time dad,
Yeah.
first time husband, so many first times. You literally proposed, I think, less than 6 months
Proposed
ago.
in September,
No,
got
just
married. Yeah, November. Well, I proposed before. You want to just kind of kill the TV? I don't know if there's
Oh,
audio.
sure, yeah.
Proposed in September. You were there. Got married in November. We had a wedding celebration. You were also there. And we didn't know that we were pregnant until after we came back from the proposal, kind of engagement, etc. Literally found out like the week after, and it was really, really like an adjustment. Like it took a while to kind of get the head, because we just gotten engaged, just gotten married, and I'm like, well, now we were like skipping everything to having a child. Like it wasn't planned, it just kind of happened. But But it was honestly an incredible experience, and I'm so blessed to be with somebody that is so special and kind and amazing human being as such as Claudia. So, but yeah, 9 months flew. I feel like it flew by, but it also didn't. So it was great. It was a great experience.
That's awesome, man.
I was always very much like having a kid's great, but it's not really that important to me in the sense of like if it doesn't happen, world doesn't stop moving. Like I never really understood how people were like, oh, like, having kids is like my purpose. Fast forward now that I am a father, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, wow, without kids, your life is meaningless. I don't believe that. I don't believe that you need to have kids in order to have a purpose. I do say, however, that it changes everything. It's just so I can't express because I've never felt this way.
Right.
There's a human being that you help create, and there's nothing that this human being can do that would make you stop loving them.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like that about anybody because any relationship I've ever had was, I guess, kind of contingent or with the intent of like, okay, well, I'm good to them, they're gonna be good to me, but my baby is the baby. It's not good to me, but nonetheless, I'm like loving and devotional and like pour my heart and soul into this little creature, without expecting anything in return. And so it's just really really special to see him, and even though it's only been 2 weeks, it's just kind of like there's nothing that he could do in my mind that would make me not feel the way about him.
Sure.
So
did that moment like happen? They say as soon as the baby, like you see him and you hold him, you're like, oh my God, like this feeling comes over me. Does that want to happen for you, or maybe along the process?
It's a great question. The baby was born, healthy pregnancy, healthy birth. It just happened so quickly, and then the baby was there, and I'm like, I can't believe he's here. Like I didn't know what to expect he would look like. I didn't know his skin complexion. I didn't know if he would have hair or not. I didn't know anything. And then first time parent, first time dad, and he was there, and I look at him and I'm like, wow. Like, and to me, what was shocking was also seeing how Claudia, like the process and the pain that Claudia has gone through to create life, right? That made me love her just so much more, and obviously really rapidly bond with that baby. Like I held him, I did skin to skin right away after. Obviously, we skin to skin, put the baby on Claudia's chest. He was there a little bit, fed him a little bit, and then I had my skin to skin moment with him for a little bit, and it was just like the world kind of stopped. Nothing mattered. Nothing else was relevant except that moment that he was on my chest, and I instantly kind of felt like a connection. I know some men say it takes a little bit longer because in order for you to bond with them. Right. I didn't really have that issue. I just kind of felt like this is my son, and I will love him and protect him no matter what. And there's nothing that could happen that would make me feel different about it. So to me, it kind of somewhat. I know different experiences may be different, but to me, it was instant.
Sounds like you were pretty prepared, though. We were talking a little bit like before we started recording how. The breast milk and the feeding and the times and should they bottle? When should they start bottle feeding? So you're all in it.
I was very, I dare say, hands-on, soon-to-be father, husband, and now I'm hands-on as well. Like, so I was very much involved. I know there's a lot of people who they go to pregnancy with their significant other, and it's like the woman who does everything, the nesting, preparing everything. I don't want to say it was the opposite because Claudia was obviously full with me, but we were step in step. We were locked in. And my contributions were as much, sometimes even greater because she didn't feel well. I knew that I picked up the slack because she was working all the way until the day before she gave birth. She was working. No sick calls, no nothing. Like working 5 days a week, full time, which was tremendous. So proud of her. That alone is a task on itself. So I picked up the slack, putting up the nursery together, doing this, doing that, doing the research, preparing myself, scheduling appointments, following up, X, Y, and Z, and just kind of, being on point. Because that's kind of how I am.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I wanted to make this experience as easy as possible for her. And I couldn't take on the birth. I couldn't take on going through the symptoms, the nausea, the headaches, tiredness, all that, but it could be on point when it comes to making appointments and buying this and preparing
making sure the process went smoothly.
Yes, that she didn't have to worry about anything other than showing up, right? And so that's kind of how the past 9.5 months have been.
Talk about teamwork.
Yeah,
man.
it's been great. So there's certain restrictions that I cannot fulfill because biologically I can't breastfeed, I can't give birth, whatever.
Sure.
But everything else, I've closed the gaps, and so it worked well. I know she's really grateful, she's really appreciative, and so am I with her and the sacrifices that she's made. But yes, I'm very much like doing the research, doing the hands-on. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm a fucking expert, but I will say that I've acquired a fair share of knowledge.
What do you think was the most difficult part of the whole pregnancy process? I mean, if I ask Claudia, I'm sure she'll say all of it. The entire pregnancy, maybe holding the baby. But I guess for both of you,
The
or
hardest,
anyone who's like thinking about having kids or probably just got, that they just recently became
yeah.
pregnant.
The hardest part, honestly, and was the dynamics between me and her, and especially at the beginning, because things have just shifted. Like, and I think you and I had talked a little bit about it, and you kind of told me to kind of snap out of it and be understanding. I don't know if you recall
A little bit, yeah.
But to me, it was just emotionally like getting on the same page and like where we are and like how our life is gonna look like.
So it was a bit of a shift, right, from one day to the next. Of like,
100%. It was day and night. It was like, wow, we just got engaged and we're gonna eventually get married. We're gonna be engaged.
it's like, I know you have a kid in you, but it's like you can still love me, and she's there like,
Yeah.
you don't get it. Like,
I can barely get out of bed in the morning, and you want me
you're
to like give
you're
you a
such
hug.
a bitch.
Yeah. Yes, and obviously it's not my proudest moment, but I will stand behind my emotions and how I felt. And it came from a place of, I guess, insecurity, a little bit of fear, all the above. Why? Are you
Well,
shaking
what
your
do you
head?
mean? Like, yeah, what do you mean fear? Insecurity of what?
Insecurity of like, yo, life is no longer gonna be what you've imagined it to be, and so that is scary. I don't.
What do you mean, though?
What do you disagree? So you go through life thinking this is what's gonna happen. You just got engaged, wow, blah blah blah, and next thing you know, oh hey, just kidding, you're engaged, but you're having a kid,
Okay.
and this is what's happening. And
So
you
that
either
that
gotta-
high you were on almost had to pause
Yeah,
a little bit
because
of
yes,
energy had to be redirected to
Of
something.
course, because as selfish as it sounds, I was like, well, this is a moment for us to be engaged and like go on a nice trip and be engaged for a year and blah 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 and do all these things, me and her.
Well,
And it's like-
redirection.
Huh?
Redirection.
It's a redirection, right? Which there's nothing wrong with it.
No,
but
no,
It took
no,
me a
of
little
course.
bit to get behind the driver's seat and be like, well, this is actually, we're not going this way. We're actually going this way.
Yeah.
So transitioning into that was a little bit of a shocker. And then
Okay.
her emotions were all over the place because at the same time, like, yeah, we said we were going to have kids at some point, but not this right second. So she felt confused all over the place. And then my emotions were also over the place. So getting aligned was a little bit of a challenge. But we persevered, and if you ask me what was the hardest part about the pregnancy, it was just kind of getting along at the beginning. And once we were like in tune, we were good. But I think that was kind of the hardest part, to
Really?
be honest with you. Yeah,
But there were also other challenges as well.
of course,
right?
but you asked me the hardest part. I
Sure.
think the beginning was tough because once I was like, okay, we're in this, we're locked and loaded. This is my person. We got married. I love her. You know, all of these X, Y, and Z. Also, I started becoming excited about having a son, and then like all these things. So, but yeah, that was the hardest part. I mean, yeah. No, putting the nursery together, all these things. I mean, that was fun, challenging too, of course, transitioning.
But the most difficult was.
But being emotionally on the same page and like locking in together.
And how did you achieve that? What did you guys do?
It was a lot of conversations, a lot of heartfelt moments, a lot of
Really?
hey, I know we said this is gonna be our life, but actually life is gonna look like this. Do we love each other? Yes. Do we want to be with each other? Yes. Okay, nothing else matters. And like tuning out all the noise, all the outside noise, and saying this is where we are. This is our chapter, and this is where we are right now. And redirection, is just kind of a way for us to like realign our goals and our aspirations and the things that we want to achieve, and kind of get back to the drawing board and redirecting and figuring out, okay, how can we accomplish our goals and pivoting into our joint purpose.
Okay.
So it was just honestly being honest with each other and having those conversations and not shutting down and not being overwhelmed or which you're gonna feel that way because it's an emotional roller coaster. At least it was for us. I know some people who are maybe more on the same page when it comes to at the beginning. It might be a little bit different, but for us, it was a little bit of a shocker,
Okay.
you know, because it was just so unexpected.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I don't know if that's the answer.
Yeah, it was a
you were
little bit
looking
of a
for.
shift that was going on. So you're
It
like,
was a shift, man. It was a shift. It was scary, and
and I can probably imagine her like with a baby growing in her, like maybe hormones all over the place, which
of
I
course,
want to use that as a excuse to probably trigger some people, but it's true. I mean, you got so many things happening inside of you right now.
yes. So from
And
hormonal,
probably you too.
yeah. There was a lot of things that were happening that were shifting, and it was then it was, all of a sudden, you know, we're together for going on 4 years now, but at the time, 4 years, and it stopped being just us two, because no matter, you know, it was always us two, and then all of a sudden, well, there's gonna be a third person in the mix, and that took a little bit of it was a little bit of an adjustment. It took a few weeks, but once we were figured that out and we kind of wrote it out, we were good.
A whole ass baby.
A whole ass baby, and he's 2 weeks old now, healthy, and it's just very exciting.
So what does a day in the life look like for someone with a 2-week-old?
So, well, we're very blessed. He's a great baby. He eats, sleeps, and shits/pisses, and that's kind of it. And then it's on repeat. So every 3 hours or so, Claudia will breastfeed him. As of right now, we're exclusively breastfeeding, and
And you told me it has to be every 3 hours, right?
Yeah,
You
so-
had mentioned something about it.
regulating.
Regulating.
Exactly. So at first, we were told even if they sleep longer than 3 hours, you got to wake them up because they don't know how to regulate their sugar levels. So when they eat the breast milk, or drink, whatever you want to say, they are able to kind of regulate their blood sugars. So that's how they need to eat. Even if they sleep, you're like, oh, they're so small. Also, they need to gain weight. So sometimes they sleep a little bit too long. Hours, not really. Like he wakes up on a regular basis, so we don't really have to wake him. But especially when they're for the first few days and weeks as well, you want to they have to be eating, you know. And luckily he eats really well. You know, God forbid he doesn't, then that becomes even more important. So imagine he sleeps more than 3 hours, and then when he does wake up, he doesn't eat much. It's a problem. They have to gain weight. So his birth weight, my son was 6 pounds 10 ounces, and at this point he's just a little bit over 7 pounds. So he's getting weight, healthy, which is important. Breastfeeding exclusively, which we will do for the next few weeks. Then we're going to start to pump, and at which point I'll be able to like alleviate some of that feeding. But yeah, the day of every 3 hours he wakes up, we feed him. Claudia will feed him. I'll usually burp him, wait a little bit, change his diaper, clean him up. He'll be knocked out, put him back down. We'll do a little bit of tummy time, 15 minutes a day. That's it, man. They're so small. There's not very much you could do except feed them and clothe them, keep them warm, keep them comfortable. And that's it. That's where we are right now. I'm not an expert, but
You sound educated.
Yes. And honestly, I've tried to do my homework and learn. And I'm always open. There's a lot of people in my life that have kids and they know more than me. And I'm like a sponge. I try to learn as much as I can. And I try to take in as much feedback as I can. But he's a great baby. Doesn't really cry much. One of the first things that we wanted to do is when we come home is adjust him to our schedule, our life. So turn on the TV, turn on the vacuum, make sure he gets. We're never going to be the parents who are like, you can't be loud around our kid because that's not realistic. Wife's Hispanic. You know how that goes. So it was never a possibility. And we never wanted him to be like sensitive, like, oh my God, I can't open the door or he'll wake up. So brought him in. I started cleaning, vacuuming. Baby slept through it. At this point, throw a grenade in there. And if he's fed, he'll sleep. He'll sleep for sure. So he's good. He's just a hungry baby. He likes to eat all the time. So, which is a little bit draining for Claudia, and then in between we rotate with the naps, during the day. I'm back at work. I took off like a week, which wasn't that long, to be honest, for a father. The good thing is I have a decent schedule that allows me to take time off. Like, I don't work 5 days. I work like today as far as they took off. Like, I work like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I'm off 2 days again. And then when I'm at work, usually Claudia's family will come over for a few hours. My mom will come over to like not leave her alone. Especially the first few days were tough. Now we've kind of gotten into the routine. Evenings we usually wipe him down. We'll give him a bath. Like, now we're gonna start giving him a bath because he got circumcised, and then you gotta be sent. That was very delicate. That was challenging because you gotta like cover the penis and like put like the like a cloth with some petroleum protected. he can't get wet, like they can't bathe him like that. Now he can, so we'll start doing that as of today. And yeah, man, it's been a learning experience because you have this baby. I don't know, you don't know what the fuck you're doing with it. Like we were at the hospital, had the baby, Claudia fed him, and then I had him burp for a little bit, not much, and all of a sudden he started spilling. Like, they have spills sometimes when they taking too much milk. They have very tiny stomachs, and then they haven't burped. Spill goes, the milk will come out. The baby was spilling. We were at the hospital. It was like day 2, and I was like freaking out because the baby was just spilling. And then we brought the nurse came in. Oh my God, grabbed the baby, made him burp, and she was like, "This, remember?" Like, and she was like walking me through it. Remember how we talked about when they spill, you bring them up because they need to breathe. Yeah, you get to get the milk out of their throat, out of their mouth. So she told me, but I was panicked. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Right.
I was like, "Oh fuck, this baby's like a day old," and I'm like, I don't know what the hell to do. There's no manual. There's no like one fits all. You just have to kind of like figure it out. And so she kind of walked me through it, and then I got the hang of it, and now we're getting a lot better. And at first, you go home with the baby, you don't keep your eye on, like away from it. Like if Claudia would sleep, I would be wake up to make sure, is he still breathing? He's a little bit too quiet. You know, put my finger under his nose. I tap him a little bit, and he fucking wakes up. Because they're so sensitive, you know, like it's like they're so fragile. And then don't even get me started about the first drive home from the hospital. Like they're like, okay, you're cleared. 2 days, you know, she had a vaginal birth, so 2 days she got checked out. That morning he got circumcised, so he was already like uncomfortable, you know, tough morning. And then we get into the car, pulled up the car, we put him into the car seat. The straps were too tight, and then I didn't know how to loosen them on the car seat. The baby was crying. Claudia started crying. Then I like adjusted it, put it in, and then I was driving. It was pouring. It was in the afternoon. Claudia started crying. The baby cried. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like driving like 20 miles under the speed limit, try to get these people home, try to get my family home. And that was like nerve wracking in Miami traffic, 4 p.m., like terrible. Got home, and it was just a surreal experience. But I will say, the first week that we were here, we got home on a Monday afternoon. I was off till Saturday. It was the best week of my life. Like, there's nothing that compares. We've done many trips, many vacations. Really? This was better than anything I've ever experienced. Because it was just me, Claudia, my wife, and then our son. And it was just like getting to know him and like knowing how he is, what he likes, and getting into that routine and figuring things out. Like, it was remarkable. Especially for somebody who, like, I work a lot. Like, I've always worked a lot. I've always moved around, go to the gym, go this, do that, record. It was just nothing. No gym, no work, nothing. Just being at home, being present with my wife. And it was soaking it all in. It was hands down the most extraordinary experience I've had.
What do you think has been like the craziest thing that you've, I think, learned or realized since bringing the baby here? Like of being a dad, like of being a parent. Like what stood out to you that you're like, what the? I can't believe this.
I can't believe, like
a realization moment.
About the baby, about...
just like, if there's like a moment that you were like, man, well, I can't figure this out. Like, you know, first time dad, like, is there something that happened to you that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is what babies do, or this is what we have to do in order for...
Well, I can't believe how helpless they are. Like every moment, that's true. Every moment is about them. Like you got to make sure, are they fed? Are they dry? Have they peed? Have they pooped? Are they breathing?
Like everything you do automatically, it's because like you've done it for so long, yes, but they don't know.
They don't. Like, yeah. And then it's like how many things you don't know. Like then he started sneezing, so we think, hey, is he cold? And then we have to Google, like, no, like sneezing is normal for them to clear their noses. So they sneeze.
Passage,
So they sneeze, but we thought he's cold, so we turn off the AC. But it's not because of that. Then they have like maybe like a little rash. We look, it's up, it's normal. Like there's a lot of things that we don't fucking know, and
you can't ask him either.
You can't ask him. Or he'll start like, he start crying. We're like, why is he crying? Like, he's a good baby. Now we know why he cries. Like, he's a really good baby. He cries because he either is hungry or he pooped or peed. That's it. That's the only reason he cries. Or maybe he has a little bit of gas. So I didn't know that there's so much involved with the baby. Then you clean him. Then you got to feed him. You feed him. Then they poop. Then you got to wash them. I've washed them once. And then he peed all over me. He shit all over me. Like... it's just But no matter what he does, he's a baby. Obviously, he doesn't. He's a baby. I can't imagine not loving him, and I can understand what people get like. They've because at this point, he's a newborn. Things change, and I can see how people like forget about their spouse and just totally like go zoom in on their baby. And I even told Claudia, I was like, we love our baby. I love him to death, but I don't want us to forget that we have each other too. So there's a couple of moments where we just try, because we do like a lot of skin to skin with the baby, and I'm like, we need to do skin to skin too. Like, I need a hug, I need a hug, I need a kiss, I need to hear that you love me, and I need to cuddle. Like, we put the baby down, and then we're like cuddle for a little bit, and I'm like, damn, this feels good.
I can see why.
Yeah, because especially the first time after we came out of the hospital, because in the hospital we weren't in the same bed, we weren't laying in the same bed and all that stuff before, like, and then now she's like, she can lay on her stomach again, Claudia, for the first time in like 9 months. Yeah. So we're like cuddle and we're like, man, this is amazing. The baby's knocked out, we're good. It's just like moments like that you as a couple, as a married couple, have to cherish and soak all in, because it's easy to get to fall in love and just be like absolved with parenthood, which is a great thing. Sure. But you also have to hold on to that, hey, this is my partner, right? Yeah. And so 2 weeks is one thing. You got to remember that 2 months, 2 years, no matter how old they get, you have to remember who was there first. And it's very easy, especially at first. It's very easy to forget about each other and just focus on the baby, because they need you all the time. But your partner also needs you. And so we try to remember that.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because you talk about how important it is to do skin to skin with the baby, right? Yeah. In order for bonding, right? Is what you had said. Yeah. So then just imagine like you as the partner, or us as just humans, like when we're with the partner, with the people that we love, we almost like also want that skin to skin, that bond as well, because you almost feel like, man, this is my partner. Like we're connecting just by hugging. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because like how important it is for
100%. Yeah.
But for you, you're like, I see it. I want it. Like,
exactly. I need it. I need my partner to prioritize me too. And so it's a balancing act. Of course, he cries his priority, because he needs to be fed. He needs to be bathed. He needs to be clothed. I don't need to do all those things. No. I can do those things myself. But there is a certain amount of emotional connection that I require from my partner. And I'm happy to share that, she is able to meet those needs, and vice versa. And I try to be here there for her. Postpartum is not easy. And I try to be the best husband I can be, the best father I can be. Short of breastfeeding, I'll literally do everything for the baby. And around the house, it goes without saying, she doesn't have to do anything. And I just want her to, know that I'm there. And we talked about a little bit, like, postpartum is not easy. Emotionally, there's so many changes that you're going through.
Yeah, I've seen like certain levels of like, even there's just postpartum psychosis of like them yelling at the baby. Obviously, this is like an extreme level, but I guess the emotions are all over the place.
All over the place.
Like, what's that?
There is.
I feel so dumb asking.
Yeah, there's a lot of different levels to it. There's postpartum depression, which is pretty severe, pretty common. And they have like there's a what is it? Baby blues is what they call it too. I don't know if you ever heard of that. It's a term that they describe when a mother gives birth, and in recent days and weeks, they become overly emotional, very sad, very distressed, because 9 months you've carried this human being, and you've kind of been defined by that. Everybody who sees you, hey, you're pregnant, blah, blah, blah. Pregnancy kind of defines you.
So it's almost like an identity type thing.
I don't want to say an identity crisis, but in a sense, you can kind of feel like lost. Like and then also you feel like helpless, because like all your friends, when they go out, they hang out, they have a drink, and you're like bound to this house, and you're like, I gotta breastfeed, I gotta do this. I'm a mother. Who's Claudia? Who's whoever, X, Y, and Z? Like, who am I? Like, for all these years, you were able to go and do all the things that you wanted to do, go to the store, go to the mall, do your hair. Now you're 3 weeks postpartum, and you're covered in vomit and fucking 2 hours of sleep. And like, I really don't know what to feel about this. I love my baby, I love my baby, but I kind of don't really love this situation that I'm in. So that's a very tough situation to be in. And for me as a man, I really can't comprehend, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I can. But all I can do is be there for my partner and hey, if you need me, whatever you need. And I even try, I'm not going to be like, oh, just tell me what you need. Like, I'm very proactive. Like, she doesn't have to worry about anything around the house or with the baby, or I go out on my way to get things done. I'm not one of those people where, like, you have to ask me what you need. I do them on my own accord because I know they need to get done, and I rather do them than you having to do that and still go through those emotional marathon, I should say. But yeah, just to be there for your partner, I think that's a big one. I want her to get out as much as possible because imagine being cooped up in your house for weeks and weeks. Think COVID. At least back then, you could go. You lived on the beach. You can go downstairs and get some. But you know how important it is to be outside. You know how important it is to get fresh air. When you're cooped up in a house for weeks at a time, it could be challenging. So what I want for my wife and for the baby, we go out on walks. We go to the park in the evening when the weather is leveled out. Just to go outside. And we went the other day and we came back. It was like an hour and a half. And Claudia was like, man, like, I forgot how good this feels. And this was just 10 days postpartum. And we go for walks even earlier. But I know how vital it is for a woman to be outside. I've read about it. I've heard a lot of women say, hey, I had baby 1 and I was indoors for months and I felt terrible. Baby 2, I was out a week after and I felt great. And so obviously this is anecdotal and everybody has to do what's best for them. But I know that for my wife and also for the baby, it's important to be outside and get fresh air on a regular basis. So, which also will help with that postpartum depression and all those things. So I'm just trying to be there for her and as much as I can. And for her to have a sense of like herself. So like I'm with the baby, hey, go take a shower, take a nap, shave, put on some nice clothes. Like make yourself be comfortable and feel like you again. Because I think it could be very easy to forget that when you have a baby.
So a lot of challenges.
Man. A lot of challenges. And it's a learning process. Baby's 2 weeks old. Like it's like he's so little and so fragile. Like we live in Miami. It's freaking June. It's like 100 degrees outside. So there's only so much you could do, right? You have to be careful with the elements, this, that, X, Y, and Z. So it's scary.
You remember when before he was born, one of the bigger challenges was just figuring out a name for him?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Which kind of feels silly now thinking about it. But
really?
Yeah, because in a big scope of things, I mean the name. As long as both of you guys are okay with it.
Just thinking about it because you're like, German background. Yes. She's Colombian, right? Yes, so she's Latin background. Your last name. So it's like, what culture do we pick? Yeah. It's got to sound right and all these things.
There was a lot of different confusions. I really liked Xavier, but it was never going to be Xavier in Miami. No, because
in Spanish it's Javier.
Javier, right? That's what it is. So I didn't want my son to be called Javier by his family and I guess close friends too. So I was like, you know what?
In school, he would have been Xavier, though. And in his life, he would be Xavier.
Would he have been if he goes to school in Miami? Work. But you told me, live in Miami. If he goes to school in Miami.
Spanish, no, but an English teacher would read his name as Xavier. But like her entire family, if they only speak Spanish,
they do.
It's going to be Javier.
Yeah.
But in school and life, when they put their job application on their adults, they're going to be Xavier. In this country, yeah, ultimately he would have been Xavier. Just know that there would be some parts of this country that would have to call him Javier.
Yeah.
They're just going to see it. And they're going to think, oh, Javier. And you're like,
no.
I
didn't want that. And
so that one didn't make the cut.
That didn't make the cut. And there was a lot of nice names that we liked, but there were like cousins were named of him. Santiago we liked, but his name is Santiago. Mateo I liked, a nephew's name Mateo. Nicholas we liked.
I like Nicholas.
Nicholas is nice. So there's a couple of names, but they were kind of like taken. So we kind of.
It's tough when the family's so big, right?
It's tough, yeah, because there's a lot of names that we like, but this person's name this person. You will see eventually.
What? Well, we've been like trying to talk around the,
have like a little bit of a list.
Names. The thing is, like, imagine she has not only a huge family.
Yeah.
We have friends, but we also, she used to be a teacher. So she also dealt with a lot of students with a different name. So
right.
I remember one time I brought up a name, I forgot which one. But she's like, oh my God, I used to have like one of those as a student.
Yeah.
And he was the worst. Like, he just reminds me of him. I can't have that name. So it's like, yeah, it's going to be tough to come up with one.
But right. So she like another name. She like Gabriel. One of my really good friends. His name is Gabe. Gabriel. Right. I'm like, no, I like Gabe. I like Gabriel. but not as
Enough
my,
to
not
have
having
the
my
same
son.
name,
Yes,
sure.
so that was a no go. And listen, originally, I always wanted to have a daughter. It was kind of like I don't know. I just always wanted one, and then we found out we had a boy, and I wasn't disappointed. But I was like, oh, like would have been nice to have a daughter. And now looking back, well, when I look at my son, I can't think of any other
Sure.
possibility. Like there's nothing else that I could have wanted. But it would have been a lot easier with girls, in my opinion.
Go for
For
name.
names. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get names. No, you disagree?
I
or?
kind of think, somewhat, yeah.
There's a lot of pretty girl names. Finding good boy names kind of tight.
Yeah.
Because you want a name to sound good. You want it to be strong, confident.
It should sound good.
It should sound good. Also, it has to make sense with your last name. There's a lot of variables. You know, my last name is Schultz. Claudia is my same last name, and then now our son Matthias Schultz. Matthias Schultz. I think it was a great one. Great selection.
You have a pretty good last name, though. I was going out through like your list that you had and going through it, and I'm like, this Schultz. I'm like, oh, and that Schultz. I'm like, damn, Schultz sounds good. It's like a DJ.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Right?
And for you, you would also have a good, Marcus Schultz. But you would also have a good last name. Would your child be Vieira or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Yeah, when we think of names, we want it to sound good too. So part of it. Like I feel like I need to lean more towards more of like a Latin name for the kid, just because the sound of it is gonna sound good with Vieira as a last name.
Yeah,
she's more into like these like Americanized names and
Maverick or something.
She's like Cameron or something. And I'm like, you say it in Spanish, Camarón. Like it's not gonna sound right. That's a shrimp essentially, literally, Camarón. So yeah, we have to be a little bit more biased on one side. So we'll see when the time comes.
Yeah, you guys.
And what it'll be too, boy or girl.
That's true. It'll you have some time, but picking out the name is tough, man. It's tough because maybe you like one, she doesn't. And the hardest thing, like I never want to involve. You ask anybody else, everybody has an opinion about something. You ask a family, oh, I like this. Like Matthias, I think her dad was like, oh, he didn't like Matthias. He's like, oh, everyone in Colombia, every boy in Colombia is named Matthias. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, we don't live in Colombia. You know, we live in Miami. I don't give a fuck.
But you remember when we used Bremen, and you were like, I don't like because it's the city of that you were born in Germany.
Bremen, but no one would name. That's like let's say you're from.
We talked about this.
Yeah, but let's say if you like, so Munich Schultz, you would or Paris Schultz.
There's people named Paris Hilton is literally a person.
Paris
with that name.
A good name, but it's not because her name is not Paris because she was born there.
It doesn't matter because that's not why we're naming him. We're just naming him. Well, the thing is, I thought so. It sounded good with your last name, and you're from there, so it's also like kind of cool. You live here. I mean, you'll go back there. It's like, hey, we named you after the city that I was born, that I grew up in.
Maybe if we have another kid, and
we have the one. We know of Virginia is dating our friend. There's America Ferrer. She was an actress. There's a bunch of other names. I said Hudson is one. Hudson River. Tim Hudson, famous pitcher.
Yeah.
You see, don't give me that bullshit.
It didn't make sense. I didn't like it. But
Bremen.
Maybe the second kid.
Second kid?
Yeah. Not anytime soon. No, I'm good. But that's kind of where we are. I felt it pertinent to like talk about it on camera finally, and kind of give people an understanding of what we've been up to for the past couple of months.
Thank you for sharing. Finally,
of course.
I knew this whole time.
Yes, you did. You were probably one of the first people. I was. So
and it's so relieving that we can finally talk about this because there were so many moments that we'd be recording an episode. And I kind of want to talk about pregnancy or some shit. And like he doesn't let me.
Yeah, cut it out. No. So now I mean, people know I post about it on social media. That's fine. But kind of where we are. Yeah, nice, I'm very happy. My life has been challenging in terms of just adjusting new schedule, this, but it's honestly been for the better.
And it also sounds like it's pretty efficient, right? In the way that you do your day to day. But that's also because I feel like you're also very prepared. You prepared yourself. You studied. You read books. You read articles. You wanted to make sure you understood everything of your kind of role in this and how you can not just feel like there's a purpose, but also like alleviate what she's probably going through. So the balance that you're creating because you're coming in prepared for this.
Yes, 100%. So
I think also makes it easier for both of you guys.
So when people always say, "Oh, you're never ready for a kid," I think it's like I don't know 100%.
No one
agree.
is.
There's
But
nuisance
you
to
also
it.
choose to.
Yes, you
can prepare.
you can't prepare for every single moment, and parenthood in itself is like unpreparable, in my opinion. But you can do your homework, you can do your research, you can put things in place that streamline the whole experience in a way where you're not like caught flat-footed on flat-footed. You know, you like kind of have an idea. Obviously, there's gonna be always something that you forget or something that we came back from the hospital. There was a bunch of stuff that we had to get on Amazon, mainly for her, like postpartum, that things that we didn't even think about, certain things that we got in certain diapers that we tried with the baby. It didn't really work out with the diapers. So there's always going to be some adjustments. But I thought we were as prepared as we could be. At the end, I was like, yo, let's just have this baby. I'm ready.
No.
Because you can't get any more ready. Like, this is it. There's always going to be something. But you can put yourself in a good position. You know, especially if you're with a good partner. And as a man, you're not physically going through labor and going through the pregnancy, but there's a whole lot of things that you could put in place and arrange in order to make this experience as good as possible. And if you're a woman, you need to be with somebody who helps you and walk with you through the pregnancy. And if you're not with someone like that, then you shouldn't have a kid with that person.
Yeah, I think pregnancy and like or maybe fatherhood, motherhood, parenthood is almost like building a piece of furniture.
Okay.
You can open the box and see all the pieces and just try building, but it'll be a lot easier if you read the manual.
Yeah.
Right? Don't you think you'll be a little bit better prepared and be like, oh man, it's hard, but at least like we kind of know what we're doing. You know, we've done a little bit of homework rather than just opening the box and being like,
yo, fuck it, what am I doing?
Figure it out.
Yes.
It'll be there for a while. It'll be a tough time.
And the manual could be, and the manual could be like reading books, reading blogs, any type of, there's so much information out there. And a lot of it, what I like to do is go on multiple videos, articles, books, whatever. And if there's a common denominator, common things that you keep occurring.
So you kind of get like the best.
Exactly. Because everybody has an opinion about something. And just because you watch a video of something doesn't necessarily mean that it's best.
Right.
But then if that
maybe they like doing it, it'll work for them, and it's worked for some of them, but other people are like, my baby's not.
Exactly. But if that same piece of information reoccurs in multiple sources from different...
It's pretty solid.
Yes. Then, okay.
Odds are it should work.
Yes. If this person tells me they swaddle their baby this way, and then I find it, on 5 other videos from different, creators or whatever, or different books and whatever, it's a good indicator that this is a solid piece of info.
Try it out.
Exactly.
Confident.
And I think that's a good way of kind of like digging through information. And truth be told, dude, you have 9 months to prepare for a child. It's plenty of time that you could study to get a book. It goes by fast, though. It goes by quick, but you got to allocate the time. And at the end, you're going to come out better for it. So.
Nice. Well, congratulations, Marvin.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to me, and maybe one day it'll be Happy Father's Day to
I have 2 dogs, so I'm, dog parent. Okay, maybe not. I guess it's not the same thing.
That's
sure.
The same
okay.
No.
Anyways, well, thank you guys.
That being
said, joining us.
If you guys have any questions, I mean, we'll try to record as much as we can, and this is a temporary place. Hopefully down the line, very soon, we'll have a new studio.
6 to 8 months, something like that.
Yes. But if you guys have any questions, anything that you want to ask, let us know, and we'll hopefully record soon.
Or if you have any tips and maybe any help that we can send over to Marvin.
Yes.
Anything that's worked for you with your parenthood.
What's like one piece of advice that you would have somebody who has a newborn, or anything that you've learned the first year of parenthood, fatherhood, that you're like, this guy needs to know this?
Parent hacks.
Yes, parent hacks. I like that. Hashtag parent
I think we should start a new segment.
Yeah.
Parent hacks.
Sure.
Let us know how it works and we'll get contributions.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. But that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. If you're a father yourself, happy Father's Day. See ya.